All legends take losses, similar to Dipset. I'm jaded in the ring, swinging that guillotine hatchet. Call my gun Amber Heard, cause she real ratchet. She always trying to pop a nigga, such a bad habit. Dynasty, Dynasty.
What's good, guys and girls? Your boy Old 5 Dynasty, back with another one. And I'm making a track right now, and I want to show you something that's pretty cool. When you're using reverb, okay? Reverb, especially, you want to try to like keep your sounds in the same room. So right now I have this track going and have a snare, and the snare I use the reverb that's inside of the MPC, the air reverb. Now, I'm not knocking that reverb. The reverb is cool for what it is, but it's not the same as outboard gear. Now, as you can see, I have a plethora of outboard gear reverbs. This one is one of my favorite. The Walrus Audio Descent. Let's put that down here. Then I also have the Empress. Yeah, I have the Empress one also. This one's a beast, right? Then I also have the reverb that's on the Microcosm too. But we're not using these pieces of gear right now. The one that we are using is the Sloer or Slower by Walrus Audio. This thing, fire. Now, I have a melody. One's on the left speaker, one's on the right speaker for stereo. Then I have a piano that's sitting in the middle. That's also going along with the bass line and kick and stuff that's in the middle, okay? I have a wide stereo field here. I'm processing my gear coming out of the Akai MPC Mark 1, okay, going into my outboard gear. So the first one that I'm using right now is the Sloer, but the reverb is on, well, it's coming out of the MPC right now, but I need that snare to have the same room temperature, come out of the same reverb room as the piano and the synth and all that other stuff. Okay, so we got to send it out in here and then back into the MPC. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to solo this so you can hear it. Can you hear that? It's a cool reverb for what it is. It's cool. But it's not sitting in the same house, the same room. So now let's unsolo that. Just unsolo that. Let's turn this off. Turn that reverb off. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to that pad. This pad is right here. I'm going to go to the pad settings, not the program settings, pad settings. Then I'm going to change it from the program. It's not going to be looking at the program anymore. I'm going to change it to my outs, which is 3 and 4. These are my outs right here, 3 and 4, right here. So that's going in stereo. So now when I do that, I want to make sure I come over to the sampler. I'm on the sampler, right? I want to make sure I can monitor, so I hit N right here to monitor the N. And I also added an air maximizer. And then I also added the air power EQ on the MPC insert because I wanted to tame or to control or to scope the sound of this reverb. Okay? That's very key, very vital. Don't skip this part. Don't just go to the outboard gear and then go back in and not tame it or control it or manipulate it in some way, shape, or form. You can do that. And if you want to record vocals, send your vocals into outboard gear and then back in to the MPC. You also have these inserts to essentially add more effects to effect whatever effects processing that you're doing. I think that's beautiful, wonderful. So now let's go back over here to the main and let's hit that snare. Can you hear that now? It sounds more dreamy. It's more dreamy. And it's sitting in the same room as everything else. Okay? Now let's hear it in context with the melody. So now let's change the decay on it. We could change the mix, the depth, decay, or the filter if we want to. Let's see. Let's hear it out. Change the decay a little bit. Yeah. They drop it down maybe a little bit more. Yeah. You have that snare sitting in there and it's dreamy. Turn it up a little. Gives it that cinematic vibe, but still got that punchy snare. It's still punchy. It's still punchy. It's in the same room, but the snare's a lot fuller, man. It's thicker now, but it's also sitting back as well. That's beautiful. So now, what I would do is, I have options now. So, you see it's coming in right on the sampler. So now I could record that whole pattern if I want to. I could legit just record that whole pattern, or I could record that snare solo as a one shot, and I'll just have that snare in there for me to do drum rolls, whatever, and I could just use it. Or is this permanently my own snare that I created? You know what I mean? So that is something I am going to do. I'm going to record that in. Just like this, man. And what I love about the outboard gear, man, you just tweak it. You touch it here and there, man. You make minor adjustments. Like, for example, the melody it's the same room, but the reverb is a little bit bigger, so the decay is up a little bit more. You know, maybe this knob is turned down here just a tad bit more. So it's because strings and all that stuff could take a lot more reverb. Then I still want to put the snare in the same room, but what I do is now I dial stuff back, because the snare is a quick stab, one shot. So you don't want a long reverb on that unless you really want to. Maybe it's like an effect. But right here I just need to just go pow, snare to hit, and a little bit of that reverb to taper off of it. And as you can see, this reverb is the dream one, so it's dreamy. It's like, so it's full. It's a full reverb, but I wanted that like little puffy cloud coming right after my snare hit. And that's where 05 Dynasty's music production is going. That's where I'm taking it one step at a time. Like, you gotta see, man. Look at all these tracks I got. I got so many tracks, but these tracks now I'm working them in. I'm blending them all together one step at a time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take E and F, the pad bank, and I'm going to put all the melodies on E, put all the percussion on F, and have those two as my song. And then from these 4 blocks right here, I'm going to use for my song. This up here is going to be like all the MIDI and all that stuff that I need to save. I mean, like all the stuff I played out on my keyboard, I want to have that up here. Then my final record I want to have down here. All these banks, all these pads filled up. Then when I start making my sequences, okay, I have to make my sequence for my intro and all this, and my chorus and my bridge and all that stuff. I'll just be working off of those pad banks. I'll be working off of this and just unmuting stuff, you know what I'm saying, panning, automation, all that stuff. But right now I'm blending it all together. So I got the melody. And I got that snare in there, it's fire. And it's cutting through the mix nice. Now let's check out the kick. Now let me tell you something, the kick hasn't been processed yet. So under here, I got the analog heat. It's packaged up. So I'm gonna send the kick and the bass through the analog heat. But also I have outboard compressors and things of that nature. I'm gonna get the kick nice and fat and warm, the bass line fat and warm, and then I'm gonna blend it with with everything else. And I'm going to probably send maybe the kick through the Sloer to get it into that space, get it into that room, but only a little bit. I'm talking about like very, very little reverb on that kick. I'm talking about maybe like just little, like, nah. And then the bass too, little bit of reverb, but it's going to have this room reverb. So it's going to sound very cohesive. Then after that, I'm going to run it through the SP404 Mark II. And then I'm gonna run it back through the analog heat. I'm doing a lot of processing for the record. But this is just the instrumental. No vocals, no nothing yet, you know? Except for my sound effect vocal. But yeah, you can play that. The problem with that is that hasn't even gone through the room yet. So you see that, it says, I put a reverb on there as a template. So look, this is a template reverb, the air reverb. But I'm going to wind up taking this off, and I'm going to put that vocal sound effect through the same room. And also, there's no delays on it yet. So I'm going to add delays to that too. You know what I'm saying? I got the LVX right here. So I'm going to put delays on that vocal. So have it sitting nice, have it bouncing. Have it bouncing in the stereo field. Because I have the sound effect left 30% and then right 40%. That's that vocal. So I'm going to have it bouncing like, you see how that said okay? It said okay. Then I'm going to have it okay, okay, like the delays with the reverb on it. But then panning from speaker to speaker. So it's like okay, 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 okay. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But I'm not processing it through the MPC. This is template stuff right here to get it to sit in the mix. Now it's going to go through my outboard gear back into the MPC, and I'm going to print it. And now when I print it, I'll have that audio file permanently. So, like for example, let's go to 13, right? 13. You see? Now that's printed, okay? That's printed with that reverb on it, you know. But you see, that's the left speaker too. Got that stereo fill going. Let's go to 14. You see, that's over here. That speaker, it's got that stereo fill going. So now I got the pads on both sides with the thick, lush reverb that's going towards those angles. My stereo fill is phenomenal. Now, to sit in the middle, we're going to go to track 22, get that piano. Right, 22. Now that's sitting in the center. That's going to go along with the bass line in the middle. You hear that lush reverb? Listen to it. I'll play it for you again. Listen to it. You hear that? That dreamy reverb. That's why it's so important to get that outboard gear, because you see I got the dream reverb on my piano. I ain't got no regular reverb. The algorithm that's inside of this Sloer or Sloer by Walrus Audio is fire. And usually I stack my reverbs. I'll stack it, but I didn't even stack it this time. So let's play. I'm saying? It's bringing the bass. I didn't process the bass yet either. Yeah. Bringing everything else. Yeah. 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 Yeah.